Dublin is ranked as one of the most expensive cities in Europe, often compared to London and Paris, but it wasn't always this expensive. The price of this milk is €1.89. Can you guess the price that it was in 2000? Isn't that crazy? 15 years ago, it's like a third of the price.
Bubble has to burst.
Yeah.
You can't just sustain it like that.
Ireland's economy exploded from the 1990s into the 2000s. This was driven by a low corporate tax rate, a rise in wages, and a big construction boom. But in 2008, that all got wiped away in the financial crisis. When the economy recovered after 2014, it recovered very differently. Global tech giants expanded in Dublin, pushing GDP higher, but that growth didn't translate into better living standards for most people. More so for a small, high-paid tech sector, which began driving prices higher citywide. Brexit and remote workers accelerated this price rise, along with financial firms who relocated to Dublin. High-earning remote workers moved in, and rents have surged ever since. 6.4 million visitors came to Ireland in 2025, which resulted in $5.5 billion worth of expenditure in the economy. A lot of this tourism is concentrated in Dublin, but this has forced the price of restaurants and hotels to go up in the capital. Only 2,300 homes were available to rent May 1st, 2025, which is one of the lowest in 20 years. The average rental price of a one-bed apartment post-pandemic was €2,053 nationally, €2,476 in Dublin, which is a 40+% rise since the pandemic. And here's when you think that in 2011, the average one-bed apartment was €765 a month. And also, do you rent or do you own a home?
I rent.
You rent? Could we also ask you how much you pay?
I pay €900.
900?
1,900.
1,900?
For a one bedroom in Dundee.
So Ciara, how much do you pay in rent and what's kind of your setup? Is it a one bed? Do you rent a room?
It's a one bedroom apartment and I pay 900, like the service.
Okay.
So it's 1,800 total.
So the average rent for a one bed now is $2,000 a month. What was it in 2011 to rent a one bed apartment in Dublin?
I want to say 800 or 900.
Pretty close, $765. Isn't that crazy? 15 years ago, it's like a third of the price. How do you find the cost of living in Dublin in general?
Compared to the other European countries and cities, you know, it's just like, it's insane. A friend of mine lives in Helsinki, downtown. She's paying like €900 for a one bedroom apartment with an inbuilt sauna. It's a great neighborhood, Dundee, but like, just to be paying that as compared to the wages, it's just like, you know, it's not sustainable.
The price of this milk is €1.89. Can you guess the price that it was in 2000 for a litre of milk?
Probably about 60 cents.
It was 84. This was $2.60 today. How much would it have been in 2000?
I'd have said about 120.
It was $1.50. Or how does it feel for you as like when you're living your day to day?
I believe the financial growth is not at par with the inflation.
What do you think of the cost of living here versus if you've lived in other countries in your life?
Well, in Gibraltar, a lot of the costs are fairly alike, especially accommodation. But in Gibraltar, you can walk across the border into Spain and do your shopping, and it's a lot cheaper there.
Do you think Dublin's a livable city, or is like the cost getting just so high that it's hard to live, or do you think it's actually fine?
I think it's getting harder.
I know a lot of people not able to save enough to buy a house. Also with the reduced amount of supply and the increased demand, it's just like, it's crazy. I probably think that there's going to be some sort of another crash in the near future, you know, which will like the bubble has to burst.
Inflation for Ireland is set to be around 1.9% in 2026. Dublin's costing list relies on carefully balancing supply and demand, diversifying the economy outside of tech and finance, and putting money back into infrastructure. And only time will tell, will the city continue to get more expensive or will it become a more livable city?